Right, so it's recording. I'd be fucking snapping. Right, let's record. Okay, so here we go. So I'm very, very fortunate to have an absolute legend of a man. This man can drink anyone under the table. I thought I tried to take him on many, many years ago, but I failed miserably. This lad is a funny man. He's a crazy man, and he's just an absolute gentleman. I'm delighted to welcome to the podcast. It is Danny Posthill. Well, hey, Danny, what's the crack?
Oh, good to see you, mate. What a lovely introduction. This man can drink anyone under the table.
As I said, because we were literally just before we started recording this podcast, Danny so lovingly reminded me of many, many moons ago on my 19th birthday when he was like, come on, we'll go out for a few drinks. I said, I'll drink you under the table because I'm Irish. And about an hour in, he's putting me in a taxi going home.
Yeah, you let the Irish right down, mate, on that evening.
I did,
and
indeed.
It was your birthday. I was so disappointed.
I know. I'm a disgrace. To those people that are watching or listening to the podcast, myself and Danny go way back. We met back in, I don't even know what year it was now anymore. We did can you remember what year it was? It was actually...
Do you know what? I think it might have been 2011. We done pantomime together.
Something crazy like that, yeah.
And you were a dancer in the show, and yeah. I was a woman.
Yeah. That's a great way to start it.
When you say this guy can drink anyone under the table and he's also a bit crazy,
yeah.
When I'm now saying this, people are going, whoa. Come on, what's going on here?
He is a bit crazy. Myself and Danny did a panto in Stockport. It was Aladdin we did. I was a dancer.
Aladdin, yeah.
And Danny played the dame. So for those people that don't go to pantos, first of all, you're crazy. Everyone goes to see a panto. Second of all, the dame is a man who's dressed as a woman who basically runs the whole show and is the funny character. And Danny played that because he is a comedian. And he was brilliant. That was one of the best shows, the best pantos I've done.
It was a good show, wasn't it? Yeah. I really enjoyed it. And
great,
Richard and David were characters, weren't they?
Yeah,
the people who run Extravaganza.
Oh,
I remember Richard. He watched the show, and in the finale, right? I had this. I mean, you saw the costume I had to wear.
Costume was huge,
and I had to walk down these stairs, and I had these high heels on as well. and I'm looking like you know what I mean? I'm looking really concerned in case I fall over because I've got these high heels on. And then, anyway, Richard come up to me after the show. And I went, hey, Richard, you all right? He went, darling, when you come down for the finale, could you please smile? You look like you're about to be fucking shot.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Can you remember that?
I do. I remember.
I was like, Richard, I don't know whether you noticed, but I'm not really used to wearing heels. Like, you know what I mean?
I just wear them casually around the house all the time, like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh my god! And since that panto, you've done other pantos? Have you done the dame stuff? Because I saw you did one. Was it last year? But you weren't the dame. Am I correct in saying that?
I've played Buttons. I've played Wishy Washy.
Yeah.
I either play the comedy, the comic, or I play the dame.
Yeah.
The only thing, I mean, the dame is a hard gig because you've got like 10 costume changes per show.
Yeah.
And you're in and out of costumes, and it's a really hard gig. It's physically tough gig.
Yeah.
But the comic role is just quite easy because you can just go on in your one costume, and then you don't change until the finale. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you do like a scene where you do maybe, I don't know, at a ghost gag, and you've got to put the pajamas on or something like that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's quite an easy gig playing comic. The only thing I don't like is when you have to get kids up at the end. That's the only thing I don't like about playing comic.
Yeah, really?
Because you just don't know what the kids are going to do. You don't know what they're going to say. I mean, I was in where was I at? I was doing the panto for Kudos in Northampton.
Right.
The Derngate, and I had this kid up, and he was a little bastard. You know what I mean? He was
There's always one.
And the thing is, as well, though, right? Kids can actually get laughs because people think it's funny if a kid's like playing up. And anyway, I had a complaint off the kid's mum because I says, "I spy with my little eye, something beginning with ADHD." In a family show. But like you say, I'm a bit crazy. I didn't really seem to care because I was like, I just can't wait to get this kid off the stage. He's doing me head in.
So do you bring the kids actually onto the stage in England?
Yeah, if you do a song sheet, I mean, at the end, I done Old MacDonald had a farm, and they've all got to do an animal noise, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was like that. But yeah, no, I mean the good thing about playing Dame is you don't have to do, so you do your scenes and then you just come down for the finale.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
that's it.
but then it's the makeup you've got to put on.
Yeah,
I've got to have a close shave every single day because obviously you've got. I mean, everyone knows it's a bloke in a frock, but at the same time, you know, you're meant to be playing a woman.
so you have to
But
be
at the same
believable.
time, you've got to look clean shaven. You
Yeah,
know,
he's
you
like, couldn't
can't
come down
really
with a big
go on.
full grown beard,
Yeah,
like,
can you imagine?
hey.
Yeah.
The kids would
Going on
definitely
with a,
go, what is going on here? Like,
exactly a full-on beard, you know.
unreal. But so what do you think? Do you think Pantos are going to come back this year or not? Obviously, with the whole
Well,
pandemic and the world has gone to
no, mate. It's you know, there's no way a production company is going to make their money because
Yeah,
of the fact that there's, you know, I mean, first of all, you're cutting your income in half,
yeah,
and then you've got to pay out a hell of a lot of money for advertising. You've got
yeah,
to pay out the actors. You've got to pay out, you know, there's so much money, you know, to pay out to the
yeah.
point where you might be lucky to break even, you
Mm,
know.
yeah,
So there's not much point putting it on, you know.
yeah,
But hopefully next year they'll be back.
yeah,
Um, you know, I mean, I've been doing gigs, but I'm having to do 2 shows instead of doing the one
yeah,
for the full capacity because obviously what I'm doing is the social distancing thing. I'm
yeah,
getting half
exactly.
the, but what I do is just, you know, I'm manning a microphone. It's not, you know, I don't have to pay out anything really.
That's true. Yeah,
Um, you know, so it's difficult times, you know, for the entertainment industry, and I think we're all just coming back together, and especially when Boris decided to make us stop drinking after 10 o'clock curfew. I mean, what are people going to do? You say to the British people, right?
yeah,
The bars will close at 10 o'clock. Everyone at 5 to 10 are going to order like
yeah.
200 Jaeger bombs down there. Do you know what I mean?
100%. It's like 5 to 10 quick. I'll get 600 Jaeger bombs, 700
Yeah, yeah.
pints, and we're having a lock in. We're going nowhere. That was brilliant. So, for anyone listening, Danny Postel is a comedian, but he's also known for his impressions. Hence why Boris Johnson joined us there for 30 seconds. In case you're wondering, he didn't just come in on the call and was like, "I'm going to tell you what's going on," and then leave. So, Danny does impressions. So, how did you start? Like, how did you know, like, all right, this is what I'm good at? Like, how did you figure out you were good at impressions?
Well, I think a lot of impressionists will probably tell you the same. I used to do my teachers at school,
Okay.
and then people used to encourage that because it's like, oh, do an impression of, you know, my science teacher, Dr. Nick, you know, do it
Yeah.
again. You know, everyone just used to love it.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was whenever I do an impression of one of my teachers, there was one particular time where I'm like, this is normally, I'm used to getting a laugh with this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden people stopped laughing because I didn't know that they were behind me.
Oh,
In their voice.
oh no.
You
Oh
know.
my God.
So that's how it started. But
Yeah.
to be fair, I mean, I had one teacher who didn't want me in his class because he didn't want me to hear him speak because
You knew you'd take him off.
or he had no choice because he had to teach bottom set. So, you know, it was, you know, I'm sorry, I don't have the intelligence to be in a different class set. You're going to have to put up with it, and I'm going to have to do your voice,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm gonna have to take you off. Is there any
Yeah.
like people that you've tried to take off that you just physically can't, or are you you're fairly all around, like you can kind of give people a go?
With impressions, it's to do with your voice range.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people can do, like a lot of impressions do Morgan Freeman. I can't do Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Simon Cowell, I just thought he was too deep. I
Yeah.
couldn't get deep enough. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But there are certain people who I got straight away. Like
Yeah.
I've just, you know, I've recently started doing Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is somebody who is, I don't really know Ben Shapiro, but he speaks really fast. And he tries to say as long words in a sentence as possible can. And he's somebody who really tries to mess people up because he says a lot of long words to confuse the person who he's having a debate with. You know, like he's somebody who, like, it was
Brilliant.
just literally.
Brilliant.
So I've been asked to do this. There's a page on Twitter called Pub Politics. And what they've done is they've asked me to do a weekly Ben Shapiro thing and just do a 2-minute skit every single week where I get different guests on. And, you know, this week was Diane Abbott. So I interviewed Diane Abbott. And imagine, like, Ben Shapiro, who speaks really fast, and Diane Abbott, who speaks really slow. And he's basically asking her questions. And what she is doing is really struggling to get the answers. So, like, the change of, and then he's getting really pissed off there. He's going, I'm sorry, everybody watches me because I mention Shapiro because I speak really fast, and you're actually spoiling for the show because you speak really slow. So you really need to speed up your process when you speak. Do you know what I mean?
That's good, man. That's so good. It's just
so
like it's mad.
We're debating who to have on next week. So we're trying to get politicians on every week.
Yeah.
That you couldn't. I mean, even comedians. People who you couldn't imagine Ben Shapiro interview, and I think that's where the humor. Like Jacob Rees-Mogg when he called people, I'm so sick of hearing people calling on. Shapiro could say something like, what I find so interesting is the fact that you said you feel working class people, but you don't, because you speak so posh to the point where they will not be able to relate to you. Oh, well, I strongly disagree. And he's coming out with all these. He speaks a lot of Latin words, doesn't he?
It's so funny, man. Jeez, it's just, I could literally sit and listen to you do impressions all day. Like now, it's so good. So for your gigs, you do stand up and stuff like that. So would you do just impressions, or you do comedy as well? You do both?
I do a bit of both, really, because I like to let people know that, obviously, people know that I'm an impressionist, but then I also like to let people know that I'm also human. And I'm not just a freak. Voices, I want people to let me. I want people to know that I'm actually a person, and I'm a nice person. Because I think if you're likable, it's half the battle. If you're a comedian, if you look at people like Michael McIntyre, you look at people like I suppose you look at Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr's got brilliant jokes.
Yeah.
You look at Michael McIntyre. He is just so likable. Everybody loves Michael. Yes. If you've got that aspect of comedy, it's just great.
Yeah.
And so I like to let people know that. I mean, I wrote a gag recently about I'll do this as myself. Just because I think when you're an impressionist, you're very good at observing things.
Yeah.
I was at a funeral, and everyone had a drink, had a glass of whiskey when this guy died. This was well before COVID, and the guy got up and he says, and we all had a whiskey. We all knew Dave loved his whiskey. This is a toast to Dave, and everyone drank the whiskey and raised a glass to Dave. And as I was drinking the whiskey, and everyone was drinking whiskey because Dave loved his whiskey, it made me think, fast forward a funeral in like 40 years' time, and it'll probably go something like, now we all know Steve loved his MDMA. Do you know what I mean? I mean, your nana's in the corner. She's 83. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having a bit of MDMA for Dave,
For Dave. Faking Dave is a mad fecker. Jesus
I know. It was Steve on it. I get mixed up. Dave was the whiskey man. Steve's the MDMA man. Right, there you go.
It's just when you started, you were like, I do this gag. So at a funeral, I was just like, this is not going to end well. Like when he started with a funeral, like he's going in hard.
Well, to be fair, that's a gag in itself. At a funeral, this isn't going to end well. It generally isn't, because they're dead. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God. Oh my God, Danny, you're
right now, our own jokes now, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I could be a comedian yet. So Britain's Got Talent, you made it to the final. That is insane that you got that far, like, to do, because a lot of people, like, it's hard on a show like Britain's Got Talent, because number one, you're on your own, and you're always going to be against dance crews and gymnastics crews and singers and a dog. Do you know what I mean? So like, what can you do to be the number one? Just it's always really hard. So how did Britain's Got Talent come about for you? Like, what did you do to be like, right, okay, I'm going to go for Britain's Got Talent?
Well, I was doing a comedy club in London called the Hen and Chickens. It was in Islington, and the producer seen me, and he says, "Would you like to come and be in front of the judges?" And I went, well, do you know what? I've got nothing to lose. Well, I did. I was earning a living, but not a great living. I was doing all right. Do you know what I mean? But then I thought, well, this can catapult my career,
Exactly.
So anyway, I'd done the gig. The producer loved me, and then they says, "Oh, which place do you want?" There was Manchester, London, and I says, "Well, Manchester will probably be closer to me."
Yeah.
So anyway, they rang me 2 days later and says, "Can you come to Edinburgh?" And I says, "Well, it's a bit far, you know what I mean?" I said, "It's it's better if I just go, man." No, don't worry about it. We'll get you a flight there. We'll pay for your hotel. I was like, whoa, hang on. alarm bells are ringing. Are you thinking,
yeah.
well, you know, am I
Don't-
definitely going to get through here? Because this is like, you know, this is really strange.
Mm.
So before I did my first audition, I had a chat with the producer, and he says, right, I want you to do, you know, I'd done a routine. I'd done Billy Connolly, John Bishop, Gary Barlow, Beckham, and Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
And then they said, can you do Jimmy Carr? Can you do Sarah Milking? Can you do Alan Carr? This, that, and the other. And I just went, yeah. But I mean, I had a limited set of voices at the time. So I thought, well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish on McIntyre because I know that routine gets a big laugh. And then I can save me stuff for the semi-final, because I thought, well, if they're paying for my flights to get there,
Surely.
it's got to be, do you know what I mean? I'm onto a winner.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've done the audition. I walked in.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was in Edinburgh, right?
Yeah.
And there was queues. There was loads of people. I was hanging around. I got there at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, what time am I on? Oh, well, the night show starts at 7. I said, well, what have you got me here for at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do a bit of filming. I said, well, can I do the filming now? So I'd done the filming. I'm hanging around. I was bored.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was like 5 o'clock. No one was, I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting around. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to there's a pub next door to the Festival Theatre in Edinburgh, right? I was a bit nervous as well. I was a bit nervous.
Why am I not shocked you went to a pub? Go on, continue. Go on.
I'm gonna go to the pub, right? So I went to the pub, and I got talking to these 3 Scottish. They were hilarious. They were brilliant. And I must have had about 4 port and brandies. And I said, anyway, I'm gonna have to go, girls. I said, but so nice to meet you. And they were like, where do you need to go? Have another drink? I was like, no. I said, I'm on stage in a bit. She went, oh my God, we're going to watch that. Oh, we'll be supporting you, like, you know, it was brilliant. So I walked on, and Simon says, he said, oh, I said, how are you, Simon? He says, what's your name? I said, Danny Postal. And he said, oh, it sounds like a pop star name. That could be a pop star's name. And Amanda went, is that what you're going to do for us today? I said, no, I'm going to do some impressions. And Simon said, do you do this for a living? I says, well, I do comedy clubs anyway. That'll pay me, you know. Anyway, he said, well, best of luck. So, oh, yeah. And another thing he said was, well, what would it mean, you know, to do the Royal Variety? I says, well, it'd be incredible. And Simon says, well, I don't know whether you know, but I was actually on the last Royal Variety performance. And then David interrupted him and says, Simon, you went on and said 6 words and introduced Calabro. You can't say that you were actually on the Royal Variety performance, can you? He went, I hosted the Royal Variety performance.
Oh,
and I laughed. And Simon didn't like that. Simon takes himself very, very seriously. Have you met Simon before?
I actually haven't. No, would you believe? I haven't met him. I went over to see Brendan Murray was on the X Factor, and I went over to see him, and I met everyone else bar him. And then I'd gone over 2 years before, or the year beforehand as well. I went over to see Louis. Louis invited me over, Louis Walsh, and I went over and I met like Sharon and Nicole. And then, but I never met Simon. I was like, what is going on with this lad? Like, he's so secret.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like,
he's actually all right. But this particular time, I don't think he liked the fact that I was on David's side, because he wants to be the hero, doesn't he?
Of course.
So anyway, I'd done my routine. I'd done, Billy Connolly, John Bishop, Barlow, Beckham, and finished on McIntyre. Yeah. But when I'd done Michael McIntyre, I went, who also, by the way, Simon, hosted the Royal Variety performance? Me and David hosted the Royal Variety performance. You actually said 6 words, introduced Tom Calabro, and repeated and it pissed him right off. He didn't like it. But it actually got a round of applause. It got a massive laugh.
Yeah.
I suppose it's like I'm the boss and my little puppet has just took the piss out of me.
Yeah, exactly.
And he didn't like it.
Yeah.
So anyway, it come to the judges, what they said, and the first one, David said brilliant, Alicia said brilliant, Amanda says brilliant, Simon, well, it was all right. Everyone started booing him, right?
Yeah.
Why did you do Billy Connolly? And Amanda went, well, because we're in Scotland, Simon. I went, thank you, Amanda, because we're in Scotland, Simon. Next question.
Just really.
I thought, you know what? I think when you're a comedian, you just can't help yourself.
Yeah, you just have to go. You have to go at him, like. Yeah.
You've just got to let them have it both barrels, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get through now. They're going to ask me for the money for the flights.
Yeah.
They're going to ask me for the money for the hotel.
So just a big waste of time, like.
Yeah. So then he went. I didn't think your Beckham was any good. He said, I think anyone can do him. I went, well, I tell you what, Simon, if you think anyone can do David Beckham, let's hear your David Beckham. And, and everybody was going, do it. So the crowd were completely on my side.
Yeah.
And he just went, you know what? He said he said, the reason you got a good reaction is because you're funny and I like you.
Yeah.
And I think that was scripted. I think he was meant to say that.
Yeah.
Because he clearly was pissed off for me and he didn't like what I said back to him. And anyway, I got through and I was like, I can't believe that. But when I'd done the semi-final, I'd done in the semi-final, I'd done McIntyre again, I'd done Jimmy Carr, I'd done Alan Carr, I'd done Sarah Millican, and I'd done Ant and Dec. And they loved it. Ant and Dec loved it.
Yeah.
And Simon says, he had a little dig. I don't know whether you noticed in the semi-final was live.
Yeah.
And he says, I thought you lost the audience halfway through, which I didn't, you know. But he just said, you know, he said, and then he said, you know, I don't see enough impressionists on the TV, and I think you could change that, which I thought was nice of him.
That was
you
nice.
know?
Yeah. At least he was on your side then.
But one thing I regret is after the semi-final, I was stood on stage with Stephen Mulhern and Callum Scott. Funnily enough, I was talking to Callum the other week. He's a great guy, and I remember they says, "Have you got anything planned for the final?" And I looked at Simon and I went, "Yes, Simon, I have." And I couldn't get his voice. I was going to do a routine where I had girls on podiums behind me, like Simon was on Take Me Out. So I would have Paddy McGuinness going, "Shingle man, reveal yourself," and then Simon. Hello, my name's Simon and I'm from London. And getting choo, 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 and they all buzz him off. Do you know what I mean? Because I thought, but the producer just said the voice isn't strong enough. And I was like, well, fair enough. And I do remember the day of the final, I ended up with I had a migraine. I don't know whether it was stress because the producer was going back and forth with material with me. You can't do this, you need to do this. And in the end, the doctor was pumping me full of all sorts. They pumped me, I mean, you know, they were giving me cocodamols.
I was wondering where that was going. I was like, "Whoa!"
Some other drug beginning with E. It wasn't ecstasy. Can you imagine? Off my head well, to be fair, they pumped me full of so many drugs. Like, you know, just for pain relief. And I got to the point where I just said to the producer, "Right, this is the set I'm doing. I'm doing this, and this. Well, I don't need to do Dara O'Brien because he's not famous enough. I don't need to do Johnny Vegas because he's not famous enough." And I went, "This is what I'm doing." And that's that. I said, once I'm out there, you can't stop me. I said, you know what I mean? And anyway, I'd done it and I got away with it. But, I mean, people who know me said, you didn't see me yourself because you looked like you were off your head on something. Like, and I says, well, I said, they were pumping me full of bloody all kinds of, you know, medication. You know, what do you expect? And not only that, I had a cheeky pot and brandy before.
Of course you did. Of course you did. What's new?
And so then, but it's helped me massively. The phone hasn't stopped ringing since.
That's brilliant.
Obviously, apart from COVID's been a bit of a nightmare for us all. But thankfully, I've got through it. You know, I've done online stuff. I've done Jason Manford's weekly stand-up. It was really weird because I was doing a gig, like, just sat here. It was really weird, just reeling off my material. But it was great because he has 5 audience members live, so you can get the laughter back. You can get the reaction.
Brilliant. So it's the same thing as being in a thing, like
in a gig, yeah.
Right. So I was chatting to you at the start. I really want to do this with you. I've been absolutely dying to do it. So I'm going to ask you to do some impressions to well-known nursery rhymes. Okay. So just give me like 2, 3, 4 lines, whatever you want of that nursery rhyme. And if you want to throw in other things in it, in that accent, or in that impression, you're more than welcome to. The funnier, the better. Yeah. So, okay, here we go. I'm going to have to stop laughing now. Okay. So, stop that. So, I would like to welcome Donald Trump to do Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Okay, this is a very beautiful song, and I actually wrote this song, you know, even though it was out before I was alive. I wrote the song. It's a fantastic song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Whatever happens, I'll build a wall. and make America great again. I actually didn't know the words. I only knew the first two lines for Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But Donald Trump, even though he wrote it, he still didn't know the words, and he knows better than everybody else.
Oh, Donald, go away, will you? You're an absolute mad joke. Go on, out you get. Right, next up, please welcome. It is John Bishop doing Humpty Dumpty.
Oh, you couldn't have picked a better nursery rhyme for John Bishop, could you?
I know.
So basically, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. But do you know what, right? John Bishop speaks. Right? What I love about John Bishop is he only needs to, like, 15 minutes. Jason Manford said this. He said, because he shared he said, I shared a flat with him in Edinburgh. And he said, well, what I love about me, because I speak really fast, I actually have to do an hour's material. Whereas John, because he speaks so slow, he only needs to have 15 minutes material. And it'll last him an hour.
Brilliant. I love it. I'm going to have to do this every week. This is brilliant. Okay. Next up, we're going to go. I'll finish on okay. So next up, we have David Beckham doing Row, Row, Row Your Boat.
Everybody knows David, has row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, like a bowl of cream. Sorry, no, it's not that, is it? You know what, right? Life is good to dream. That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I used to sing when I was in school. I used to sing Like a Bowl of Cream. And the teacher didn't stop me until a year later. She was like, Daniels, it's life is good to dream. But this is what happens when you don't listen to everyone else and you're in your own little bubble.
Bowl of cream. Oh man, my cheeks are hurting from laughing. I haven't laughed like this in a very long time. Oh my god. Right, last but not least, please welcome Mr. And I absolutely love this fella. I would love to go see him live. I actually do get to see him live right now. It is Mr. Michael McIntyre with the Three Blind Mice.
So here we go. Three blind mice. See how they run. They run all over. Where are the blind mice going to run? They're running. He's blind and he's a mice. He doesn't know where he's going. Is there a cat behind me? Am I going to go into a wall? This is a nightmare. See how they run. And then eventually they get one gets his tail chopped off by a farmer's wife. What an evil bitch. I couldn't imagine. Who wrote this nursery rhyme? Who the hell decided that I'm going to write a nursery rhyme where an evil woman who is clearly against animal rights goes up to a mice who is blind? I mean, firstly, the mice has a disability. And secondly, she decides to chop the tail off with a knife. It's a nightmare.
Oh my god. I'm giving that a clap. That is that is brilliant. Danny, you're a mad fecker and you're an absolute legend. Honestly, I can't thank you enough for coming on.
Mad fecker, I love that.
Mad fecker. Come here to me. For anyone that is looking to find you online, where can people look you up? How do we find you?
So I'm on Facebook, Danny Posthill Impressionist. I'm on Instagram, Danny_Posthill. And I am on Twitter, @PostillDanny. I'm not on TikTok because I'm a grown-up.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh, come on.
I'm not even on it. I'm not even on it. I just can't get the hang of it. I just don't get it. I don't see the enjoyment out of learning that dance online.
I don't as well. Yeah. Do you know what I don't get as well is when you see somebody miming a Michael McIntyre routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going, well, I've heard this. Firstly, I've heard Michael do it originally.
Yeah.
And then you're just sort of getting fame by not even doing an impression of him. You're miming it. You know what I mean?
And here's you working your arse off trying to get it right.
Exactly, yeah. It actually pisses a lot of impressionists off because I spoke to a girl called Steph Todd. It was brilliant, by the way. You should get her on the show, Dale. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She does a lot of like reality TV people.
Right.
And she's very, very funny as well.
Yeah.
You know, she got a lot going for her, and we were talking about it, and she was just like, oh, I says, well, I said, what do you do? I says, but the thing is, you know, these people who do that, they can't work live unless they've got like, you know what I mean? Can you imagine if the tape
Yeah.
pauses when they're halfway through a voice?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, what do I do? You know.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant, Danny. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And look, best of luck with everything. I hope gigs kind of get back properly normal for you. I know they are normal now, but hopefully with everything going on, we can all get back to work properly. But until then, Danny, thank you
Absolutely,
very
Dale.
much.
Well, listen, next time I'm across the pond, we'll have to go for a drink or two, and it'll be good to catch up with you.
Not a hope. Not a hope. Not after last time. All right, good man.